Hi everyone, it's me again. I have something really important I want to talk about, which is remember the stages of life, where there's 4 stages: childhood, teens, young adult, family, work, and then your empty nest senior years. 4 stages. I'd like to talk about the time when we're from teens to young adults, just after we've been children, and that's all we see in our world. We don't know what's ahead, but that's all we can focus on, which is good. Now, when you come, my daughter and I were talking about when you come to this age, and I remember when our kids came to this age, like teenagers, late teenagers, adults, and then they were realizing that they have agency. Our late teens need to develop confidence in their newfound agency. Even we do, because I remember feeling like, how much agency should I give them? And am I being a failure as a parent because I'm not able to help them be confident in this newfound agency? What are going to be the rules? And then sometimes they're not even around as much as you want them anymore. Everything is starting to change. Let's see what it says here. How do we cultivate agency in our kids and in ourselves? We need to develop this. It's a feeling. What is agency? How can we build it in our kids? I feel confident when I walk down the hallway. I'm not afraid to talk to any of the kids in my grade, reported my son after a mere 2 weeks in a brand new school. Perhaps it's the contrast offering him a newfound sense of agency. In his previous school, he was ignored and judged, even bullied. So because of the criticism, he didn't feel safe to share himself with others and didn't really feel free. Our free agency is important, especially when we come of the age of a young adult, where we are expected to, in our later teens, become a person of our own. And we can only do that through developing confidence in our freedom and agency. So notice the contrast when he went to a different school. His new school had created multiple ways for the students to get to know one another on a personal level when it first began in a few weeks of school, so they've done the same for their parents. There's a curiosity and a genuine interest, effort, and care put into getting to know who he is and who we are as valid members of the community. Along with care and effort, there's a shared principle that is spoken of about the need for and the value of differences, and learning from and enjoying the experiences of getting to know other races, cultures, genders, interests, personalities, earning styles, and passions. So what is agency and why do we need it? Well, agency was the principle that there was war in heaven over. Our God, Heavenly Father, our Creator, wanted to give us agency, and the contrary, He didn't. He was going to force us all to heaven. So what is agency? That war still goes on today, where, our governments, some of them want complete control now, saying that we are not responsible enough. But no, agency, and why do we need it? It's simply feeling in command of our lives. The power of agency. When we feel agency, we feel like our roles, participations in a family, school, or community can make a difference in our own lives and in others' lives. It's very important. It's part of growing up and maturing, which is what the confident parents' work is all about. It sounds simple, right? Yeah, but it's far from simple, since social structures in our family or work environment and our very own stories about ourselves in relation to the world can work against it. So what we think about all this can really work against ourselves when we're not, don't have this wisdom. This article is giving us wisdom so we can become better, confident parents in our own agency and in helping our children learn to be confident in their newfound agency as they are growing up into young adults. You don't want to give up and just feel guilty and feel like you failed. You don't want to do that. So this is telling us how. Many people have expressed feeling overwhelmed and anxious and frightened. And many of us, definitely I did, feel like, what was happening? Like, they're never home, or what's going on? Please don't take it personal. Right here it says, many conditions are facing us and attacking our sense of agency, including the reliance on technology, physical movement, not enough physical activity, isolation, the changes that overextend our abilities to adapt to the changes. The good news is agency is learned, which means we always have the opportunity to cultivate it. If we know we are operating on fear or doubt or guilt, well, we have a chance to correct that. Each time we stay in the present moment versus recounting the pains of the past, we are gaining on our ability to have control over our lives. When we accept what it is, even though it might be messy, complicated, and unexpected and not what we want, but we start to accept things as they are, then we begin to open ourselves to the opportunities of how we might be powerful in the now, in the present, and how our current choices might impact others or change the dynamics or improve, even in small ways, the health of our relationships. Better still, when we can articulate our sense of purpose, our why for being on the planet, and why we can return again and again to that core sense of meaning and belonging. Parents are educators who feel like victims and who react as if it could be others. Okay, we lost that sentence. But if you feel like a victim or feel guilty or feel like giving up, you need to cultivate a mindset in your children or students that helps them feel like the leader of their own life. And we all have those moments or times. So since we cannot truly cultivate agency in our children without first cultivating it in ourselves, I'm sharing tips on how we can all cultivate it in ourselves or recalibrate if we've had it and then lost it, or to gain it along with our children. So pause and reflect. That's number 1. Okay. And remember, this has happened to all of us parents that had children grow up and come to this age where they're in the late teens or whatever, maybe 14 up, where they want their agency and freedom, but they don't feel confident in it either. They're not. You don't realize how they're suffering about it either. And you have to help your children feel confident in their agency and not bring them down. So recount your latest story. Pause and reflect. Oh yeah. This is how you can do it. Agency is only available when you slow down. It begins to appear when you pause and think about your thinking. If you're too busy to stop, breathe, get quiet, and listen within to what's happening with you and your children at the moment, you run the risk of catching others' fears and anxieties and exacerbating your own anxiousness and reacting on impulse. So by taking this all-important pause, you identify which inner and outer voices are authentic and necessary to meet the challenges of the moment. And then you have the ability to access and greater wisdom to allow your best self to emerge. Pause and reflect. Okay, recount your latest stories. How are you framing what's happened? Are you framing it as a failure, or what? Are you doing yourself in? You're slipping into a victim helplessness mindset then. It's easy to move during these complex times. It's an easy way to deal with it. But if we have to fight for our safety and our rights and our choices, we may slip into a versus them mentality. So you versus them, that's not going to feel good, especially if it's your own children. You versus them. For this reason, it's important we check our stories, the ones we tell ourselves as we go through life when our tire has a hole in it or package was delivered to the wrong house or your child refuses to practice the instrument and do homework. Consider the last time you were challenged by someone. Tell that story to yourself again in writing. Now review what you wrote and consider these questions. Okay. The last time you had a confrontation with your kids, was there someone to blame for your challenge other than you? Did you feel a lack of control? If you answered yes to these first two questions, it's important that you look at how you're revising your story. How can you retell it without placing blame? Better still, how can you find empathy and compassion for the others involved in your story? Or in other words, what's their story? Surely their story also involves challenges and perhaps pain. Flip that second question around and ask yourself, what can you control? What can I control in this situation? And if you did not act in a way that made you feel better, what can you think of that you could have done? And what can you do if it happens again? If you get in the habit of reframing and retelling your story and of the challenge in this way, you will cultivate more freedom. You will feel like you have more control and agency. So how do you do that? Set a positive goal. This is a simple yet powerful strategy. So answering those questions, figure out what you could do. Like you could have made it some kind of a deal, like compromise. Children need you to compromise a lot. You both get your way. It's not enough to tell a story which you retain all the power. In addition, you need to set some goals. What will be a healthy goal for those in your relationship too? A goal that focuses on both of you, not just yourself or that one of them. Get your attention and energies in the right direction as if it's aligned with your core purpose and serves as a powerful navigation system so that you can return to a place of agency even when fear takes you temporarily off course. Take small steps. Now use that goal to guide your purpose-driven action. Even and especially small and regular actions towards your health, pro-social goals will help you experience the fact that you have some control and you are moving in the right direction. And you don't have to convince your body and brain of that. You have influence. They are convinced because of the steps you're taking. Equate every challenge with opportunity. Those who have well articulated their purposes have set and engage a social and emotional skill. Yep. So you've set your goal and make sure that whoever you're in a relationship with knows what these goals are. Deepening our awareness and exercising our self-management skills will help us stay on course and deal with the big emotions that will shift even dramatically in challenging times. Our ever-growing social awareness allows us to find the empathy and compassion for others who are suffering in pain or may not feel a sense of agency either. And most times our children don't. They need to learn how to become confident in their agency. And we help them. And we help ourselves. We need to feel that too. You have to feel freedom in your marriage. So we may discover new ways to assist those who live in fear. Our relationship skills are frequently put to the test. Would we attempt to motivate our students or children with safety rules? With our children, how will we listen reflectively? How will we communicate in ways that create safety and show them that we care? And finally, how can we make choices that come from a place of wisdom versus reactivity? Keep in mind that if you are feeling particularly anxious or fearful, the people around you may increase your fear if they are feeling that same way. So anxiousness is contagious. So be sure and surround yourself with open-minded individuals who are grounded in their sense of purpose and making positive steps toward their goals. That's how we want to bring our children up. Children may have particular challenges related to agency. And those who are marginalized because of their skin or color, heritage will have even harder time. Children need to learn from their parents and teachers that they are capable contributors to their family and schools and community. And if they are angered or hurt by any injustice, they will have the power to do something about it, whether it involves resistance or persistence in making positive. Children and teens need adults who will allow for and elevate their voices, so they are not just rule followers in an adult world, but teachers who create the safe spaces for children to take risks in raising their voices and take social responsible actions. How will you discover your sense of agency, and how will you guide your children to that gift that keeps on giving? So there you go. That kind of helps you. I hope that will help. And to do with the path of life, there's all these 4 stages and different things we all go through those same feelings when we raise children and family.